It was 2 days before the celebration of the feast of the Passover in the city of Jerusalem. Jesus had been in the city with his disciples for some time. He openly spoke about the fact that he would have to suffer and die to save people from their sins. He also challenged the religious authorities by condemning their self-righteous attitudes. So, the chief priest and religious leaders met to form a plan.
This man, this Jesus of Nazareth, must be silenced.
Yes, by all means necessary. There is great danger that the people will listen to his foolish talk instead of to us.
Let's arrest him. Let's put him in prison so that no one will be able to hear him.
That's a good idea. That would put him out of action.
Wait. We can't do that. The people have been following him with palms and shouts of Hosanna. If we arrest him now, there will be a great riot.
You're right. We will have to wait for a better time to get rid of this troublemaker.
So it was that the religious leaders decided to wait before trying to get rid of Jesus. While this was being done, Jesus and his disciples traveled just over a mile to the east of Jerusalem to a city known as Bethany. It was there that Jesus and his disciples were entertained as the guest of a man named Simon, who had been healed by Jesus of a skin disease like leprosy. As they ate, a woman entered the room with a beautiful jar filled with expensive perfume. She broke the jar, poured the perfume on Jesus' head, and began washing him.
Look at what she has done. How dare she?
What a waste. That perfume could have been sold for money to give the poor.
It would have been enough to feed many people, you selfish woman.
How can you do such a thoughtless thing? God will surely punish you for being so stupid.
Friends, please be kind. Stop bothering this woman and leave her alone. She has done a very beautiful thing for me. I know there are poor people who could be fed, but they will always be in your world. You will always have chances to see to their needs. I will not always be here in this world with you. What this woman has done is all that she could just now. She has believed in me and the promise of God. She has poured this perfume over me to prepare me for burial, for this is your custom. I want you to know that wherever people talk about the good news of God's love, this woman and her kindness will be remembered.
After the woman finished attending Jesus, Judas Iscariot left the gathering and went out to find the religious leaders who were seeking to get rid of Jesus. He found them very interested and willing to hear what he had to say.
There's a knock at the door. Who could it be?
I'll see.
Quick, let me in. I have something you need.
Wait a minute. You can't just come in here without an explanation. Who are you?
My name is Judas Iscariot.
Is that supposed to mean something to us?
I am a disciple of Jesus of Nazareth, the one you want to kill.
How do you know that we want to kill him?
He has made fools of you all. I know you're kind. You cannot stand to have someone get the better of you. I know that Jesus is in great danger.
So why are you here? Why would one of his disciples want to talk to us?
Jesus has made a mistake. He's not doing things according to what my plans were. He's not the Messiah I thought he would be. I want to help you arrest him.
Really?
Yes, I believe it is the only way.
The priests were pleased with what Judas had to say. They promised to give him money for his efforts. So, Judas began to look for opportunities to have Jesus arrested away from the crowds. Shortly after Judas's exchange, the disciples and Jesus were together. It was now the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the day the lambs for the Passover meal were killed. The disciples with Jesus began to ask questions of their Lord.
Jesus, where are we going to celebrate the meal of the Passover?
Yes, Lord, where shall we be gathering? We have no house or building in which to stay. Go ahead of the rest of us into the city. There you will meet a man carrying water in a jar. Follow him to the house where he works and say to the owner of that house, "The teacher says, where is the room where my disciples and I will eat the Passover meal?" The owner will then show you a large upstairs room that is fixed up and furnished. That is where you'll get everything ready for us.
The disciples did as Jesus requested and found everything as Jesus had told them it would be.
Friends, I have to tell you something. One of you who is eating with me now will betray me tonight.
No, Lord, that cannot be. Surely you don't mean me, Lord.
It is one of you who will dip his bread in the dish I have used. The Son of Man will die as the Scriptures have said he would. But it will be terrible for the one who betrayed the Son of Man. It would have been better if that man would have never been born.
As they were eating, Jesus took a piece of bread, gave a prayer of thanks, broke it, and gave it to his disciples.
Take this. This is my body.
Then Jesus took a cup, gave thanks to God, and handed it to them. And they all drank from it.
This is my blood, which is poured out for many. My blood which seals God's covenant. I tell you, I will never again drink this wine until the day I drink the new wine in the kingdom of God.
After the meal, the disciples sang a hymn together, and then went out into the Mount of Olives. a quiet place away from the rush of the city. It was there that Jesus spoke again to his disciples.
Tonight, all of you will run away from me and leave me, for the scripture says, God will kill the shepherd, and the sheep will all be scattered. But after I am raised to life, I will go back to Galilee to meet you there.
No, Lord, I will never leave you. Not even if all the rest do, I will not.
Peter, I tell you that before the rooster crows 2 times tonight, you will say 3 times that you do not know me.
No, Lord, I will never do that. I will not deny you, even if it means I'll have to die myself.
All the other disciples agreed with Peter. After a while, they came to a place called Gethsemane. Jesus again spoke to his disciples.
Sit here a while, for I must pray.
Jesus then took Peter, James, and John on a little further with him. He was very sad and said to them,
The sorrow in my heart is so great that it almost crushes me. Stay here a while and keep watch, so that I might pray to God.
Jesus moved on a little further and threw himself on the ground and prayed,
Father, my Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet, not what I want, but what you want should be done.
Jesus returned to his disciples and found them asleep.
Peter, are you asleep? Weren't you able to stay awake for even 1 hour? Keep watch and pray that you not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Once more he went away alone to pray, saying the same words he had said before.
Father, my Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet, not what I want, but what you want should be done.
Then he came back to the disciples and found them again sleeping. They could not keep their eyes open and did not know what to say to Jesus.
Are you still sleeping and resting? Enough, the hour has come. Look, the Son of Man is now being handed over to the power of sinful human beings. Get up, let's go. Look, the man who is betraying me is here.
While Jesus was speaking, Judas, one of the 12 disciples, arrived with soldiers. They had swords and clubs. They had been sent by the chief priests, the teachers of law, and the elders of the religious community. They had been told that Judas was going to kiss the man whom they were to arrest that night. Judas came to Jesus and greeted him.
Teacher.
It was then Judas kissed Jesus. When he stepped back, several people from the crowd grabbed Jesus and held him tightly. One of those who were standing there drew his sword and slashed out at one of the soldiers, cutting off his ear. Jesus spoke out.
Did you have to come with swords and clubs to capture me as though I was an outlaw or a common criminal? Day after day, I was with you in the city, in the temple, and you did not then arrest me. But the scriptures must come true.
When it was obvious Jesus was being taken prisoner, the disciples, each and every one of them, ran away. It was then that Jesus was taken to the house of the high priest, where all important religious leaders were gathering. Peter followed from a distance. He went into the courtyard of the high priest and sat there by the warmth of the fire. The chief priests and the whole council tried to find enough evidence so that they could put Jesus to death, but they could not find any. Many witnesses told lies against Jesus, but their stories didn't agree.
I heard him say that he was going to tear a temple down.
I heard that too. He said he would tear down that man-made temple and build another one in 3 days without any human effort at all.
But even these witnesses couldn't get their stories to match. Finally, the chief priest questioned Jesus.
You have heard many people say many things. Have you no answer for these things people say about you?
But Jesus would not respond to the priest. So again, the high priest questioned him.
Are you the Messiah, the Son of the blessed God?
I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated at the right side of the Almighty and coming with the clouds of heaven.
Enough. We don't need any more witnesses. You heard his blasphemy. You heard how he claims to be God. What is your decision?
All of the people there gathered voted against Jesus. They felt he was guilty and should be put to death. The guards pushed Jesus down, spat on him, and began making fun of him. While this was happening, Peter, one of the servant girls of the priest, spoke to Peter while he sat by the fire.
Hey, I know you. You're one of the ones with Jesus of Nazareth.
I don't know what you were talking about. I don't understand what you're saying to me.
Peter tried to walk away from the fire into a nearby passageway. It was at that time a rooster crowed.
I'm sure that I am right. That man over there, he's one of them.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Now, some of the others agreed with the girl. Another spoke out.
You can't deny you're one of them. I can tell by the way you dress and the way you look. You're from Galilee, just like Jesus.
I swear that I'm telling you the truth. May God punish me if I'm not. I do not know the man you are talking about.
Just then, a rooster crowed a second time. Peter remembered the words of Jesus.
Before the rooster crows 2 times, you will say 3 times that you do not know me.
Peter was crushed by the memory. He broke down and cried more than he had ever cried before. Meanwhile, the priests decided to take Jesus to the Roman governor of Judea, named Pontius Pilate. They brought him to Pilate in chains and handed him over.
Are you the king of the Jews?
So you say.
You see, this man is crazy.
He is an enemy of Rome.
He plots an overthrow.
Aren't you going to answer all these things? Listen to all these accusations.
Jesus remained quiet. Pilate was amazed at the reaction of Jesus. He seemed so calm, so in control, even though his life was threatened. By now, a crowd was gathering where Pilate and the religious leaders held Jesus. They came to Pilate for a yearly favor. Rome had a custom of releasing one Jewish prisoner from jail at the feast of the Passover. They did this because the Jews were very hard to deal with, and they tried to calm them down with this gesture.
I know why you're here. It's time to release one man to you from our prisons. Do you want me to set free for you, the king of the Jews?
Pilate did this because he knew the priests were jealous of Jesus, and he did not like them or favor letting them get their way. But the priests were very smart. They spoke to the crowd.
Before you answer, think. There's a better man to have than this.
Yes, there's the man Barabbas. He's one of our rebels who hated Rome and plots to kill him when he can.
That's right. Barabbas is the one who can help us most.
Give us Barabbas. We want Barabbas.
Very well. You have made your choice. What do you want me to do with the one you call King of the Jews?
Crucify him, crucify him, crucify him.
But what crime has he committed?
Crucify him, crucify him, crucify him.
Pilate was afraid of the crowd and wanted to please them, so he set Barabbas free, sealing the fate of Jesus and fulfilling the scriptures.
The soldiers took Jesus back inside, away from the crowd, into the governor's palace. They put a purple robe on Jesus, made a crown of thorny branches, and put it on his head.
Here's to the great and glorious King. Long live the King of the Jews.
They beat him over the head with a stick, spat on him, fell down on their knees and mocked him. When they had finished making fun of him, they took off the purple robe and put his clothes back on him. Then They led him away to be crucified. Then they crucified Jesus at 9 o'clock in the morning. While on the cross, Jesus was mocked by people passing by. They laughed and made fun of him.
Haha, you're going to tear down the temple and build it up in 3 days.
Yes, that's what you said. Why don't you come down from that cross and save yourself?
Look, he saved others but cannot save himself.
Look at the great Messiah now.
Come down from the cross, Messiah, and we'll believe in you.
At noon, the whole country was covered with the deep darkness none had ever seen before. This great darkness lasted for 3 hours. At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out,
my God, why did you abandon me?"
People who heard this mocked even more.
Listen, he's calling for Elijah.
Wait, let's see if Elijah will come and bring him down from that cross.
It was then that Jesus gave out a loud cry and died. One of the soldiers near the cross, who had seen the whole experience, saw how Jesus died and said,
This man really was the Son of God.
Now, there were some women there at the foot of the cross. Among them were Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Veronica, and Mary, the mother of James the Less. They had been with Jesus since the days of ministry in Galilee. They had often helped Jesus. Near evening, Joseph of Arimathea came. He was a respected member of the council who had sentenced Jesus to death, because it was the day before the Sabbath, and because he was a man who was awaiting the kingdom of God. He went to Pilate.
Your Excellency,
What is it now?
I would like you to hand over to me the body of Jesus, who was crucified this day.
He is dead already?
Yes, Excellency, he is dead.
Soldier, is it true? Is the King of the Jews dead?
Yes, sir, it's true.
Take him then. I'm glad to have this whole thing over with.
Joseph went back to the hill of the skull. Jesus to a tomb dug out of solid rock and saved for the very rich and important people. The woman wrapped Jesus in the cloth. And silently prayed for him. They made plans to return after the Sabbath to anoint him with funeral ointments. When finished, Joseph and the men placed a large stone across the entrance of the tomb. They said a silent prayer for Jesus and then left to travel back to the city. We await Jesus' resurrection on Easter Sunday.